Welcome to the Silver and Black Show. In this bye-week overview brought to you by Hawaiian Airlines, Jim and I look back at the first 5 games of the season. And we head back to London to revisit a thrilling win over the Chicago Bears. We also find out how Darren Waller spends his time away from the football field. All that and more on the Silver and Black Show, starting right now.
We're a better football team this year than we were last year. We were building. Coach Gruden was laying a foundation. Like I've told you, man, it's my 3rd time, restarting in the franchise, right? Yeah, it's not fun, man. I just want to win. But the cool thing about it now is I could see it last year. I was like, man, we're going to be awesome. I know it. I know we're going to be able to play in big games and beat people. No one else saw it. No one else believed in it, except the people in our building, and that's all that matters. And so I think it's carried over since last year, and I think it'll continue to grow.
A little turbulence overseas for the Raiders, but in the end, they pull off a pivotal Week 5 win against the Bears. Welcome to the Silver and Black Show. I'm your host, Nicole Zaloumis, alongside our 2-time Super Bowl champion, Jim Plunkett. And it was really a statement win for this Raiders team to gut it out and get the victory.
Yeah, well, absolutely. They got off to a great start, 17-0 lead, and all of a sudden things started happening, a few turnovers, a few miscues, and all of a sudden the Bears take the lead. But on that final drive for the Raiders is a great show of the ability to come back under duress, and they marched right down the field and got in the end zone for the touchdown. And I think, that speaks a lot for them as a team, and also gives them a lot more confidence going into the rest of the season.
You mentioned the miscues because those can be so pivotal in a game, switching momentum. And for a moment there, even when Derek Carr had a miscommunication with Josh Jacobs, you're thinking this could be that moment, and they didn't let it get to them.
Well, I don't. One play, unless it comes at the end, isn't going to make hopefully a lot of difference on how the team reacts. But you're right. It put him in an awkward position. It gave him a short field for the Bears, and it made more of a game of it. Fumble on the 1-yard line going in. Also, helped the Bears stay in the football game. And penalties and miscues like that are the things that really kill you during the course of a ball game. So you have to eliminate them as much as possible. But you're right. They came back. They showed their fortitude and came away with a victory.
It was also nice, though, to see how comfortable Derek Carr was despite the ups and downs. The offensive line helped him out a little bit in providing some time.
Not only that, they did provide Derek some extra time in the pocket, but also the running game with Josh Jacobs handling the brunt of it. He had a great game, over 100 yards, and they maintained possession of that ball, kept it away from the Bears offense, and that also helped them win that football game.
Josh Jacobs has been fun to watch, and anytime a rookie is mentioned with Darren McFadden and Marcus Allen, he's in good company and has a bright future.
Yeah, he's off to a great start. There's no doubt about it. 430 yards as a rookie. He's doing a great job controlling the football, keeping it away from the other team. But he's a fantastic player.
Well, and how important is it to have a solid back that you can trust like Josh Jacobs so you can have this balanced offense?
Oh, it's extremely important. You run the ball, those linebackers, those defensive backs sneak up the line of scrimmage, you play action, then you look for passes down the football field. And with this running game going now with Josh Jacobs, it's providing Derek Carr a lot of opportunities to throw the ball down the field. And that's where it's going right now. They didn't know how good Josh Jacobs was going to be, but he's providing a lot of, it seems like, experience already in this early part of the season.
Well, you mentioned throwing the ball down the field. Week 5, Derek found 9 different receivers.
And that always helps because now the defense doesn't know who to double cover, what kind of defense to run. With that play action, it provides a lot of opportunities for Derek Carr to get to these different receivers.
The nice thing about Week 6, having a bye here, is we get to sit back and look at the first 5 weeks and just kind of assess the team at this point. What would you say is the biggest surprise so far?
Oh, I think the way the defense is playing. They've had tough games against Kansas City and Minnesota, but otherwise I think they've handled themselves very well, putting a lot of pressure on the quarterback in some instances, coming up with turnovers. These are the things you're looking for. And this week off will give the team to self-scout themselves, see what they're doing best, and those are things that you're going to look at, and it'll help you during the rest of the season.
What about MVP through the first 5 weeks of the season? One person that's really impressed you?
Well, it's really hard to say, but I would say Darren Waller, with all the receptions he has, he's putting the Raiders in good field position, coming up with some fantastic catches along the way. But he's just been a force offensively for these Raiders.
Well, and the tight end unit as a whole, being able to have options outside of Waller is a nice, refreshing thing for a quarterback.
Oh, it is. And, they spread them out. They're not always in the tight end position. It gives them a chance to have a little bit more room to run his routes. And, I think that's been very effective for him.
All right, well, I think it's safe for me to choose MVP of Josh Jacobs because anytime you're breaking records, week 4, week 5, who knows what's in store for week 7.
No, you're absolutely right.
We have to take a break here, but more Silver and Black show to come.
We're going to have a great flight home. We have some injuries. I want everybody to have a great bye week. You have the whole week off.
A well-deserved week off for the Raiders. They continued their extended road trip in week 5 all the way in London against a 3-1 Bears team that not many gave them a shot to beat. The storylines were plenty and the adversity abundant, but the Silver and Black set out to make a statement too loud to ignore.
And welcome to Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in London. The Bears, who have won 3 in a row, take their 3-1 mark against the 2-2 Raiders. Great enthusiasm. Welcome across the pond, everybody.
Don't have no regrets. Go out here and take what you want. You had a good game last week, but this week reintroduce yourself.
We're great, baby. It's another great day for some football here. Raider Nation, let's go.
Let's go Bear Hunt. Bear Hunt on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Bear Hunt. Play for each other. We're all ready. Don't second guess yourself. Let that fly. Let's go play for the man next to you. Play for the man in front behind you. We're going to go out here and bust they from start to finish, man. Play hard. Let's go. Bring it in. Raiders on 3. 1, 2, 3. Raiders.
Once again, a 2nd and 15 situation for the Bears in this series. And he's got time no longer. And Chase Daniel goes down, and Max Crosby, who forced a fumble last week, making his first NFL start, rookie from Eastern Michigan, knocks back Daniel in a loss of 5. 3rd down and 1. And here is Jacobs with a first down. A couple of missed tackles by the usually reliable Bears defense, and the Raiders, who started from their 10, are now at the 40-yard line.
Nicole is in there as the fullback. He comes over to the left. It's a toss play. Jacobs going to run behind him. Got daylight. End zone. Touchdown. Jacobs breaks through.
That's offensive execution at its best.
Hey, 10 plays, 90 yards, right down their throat. How they like that now?
Here's Washington trying to run it in, and he does. Touchdown, Raiders. You called it. What a shocker here in this first half thus far.
Good job, Trev. Hey, keep inspiring. Keep inspiring the play call, just like that, man. That's awesome.
Chase Daniel, who has thrown an interception, and he's going to go down again. A big sack. 3rd sack of the game, and Maurice Hurst knocks Daniel back inside his 20-yard line.
This Raiders group right now, they are playing out of their minds good. You know, when you talk about every game as its own chapter, this chapter is only half written right now, but the first half says physical domination, and if you don't step up and do something about it, you're going to have a long flight back across the pond to Chicago.
2nd down and 4. And the ball gets loose, and Jacobs is going to try to get to it, and the scrum is on. Bears get it. There's their first break of the game, and here is the touchdown by Montgomery. Daniel throws. Touchdown, Robinson. 3rd down and 14. Here comes the safety blitz, and the pass incomplete. And right now the Raiders rattled by the Bears' revitalized defense.
I'm telling you, high fives, they've got some energy right now in this stadium.
Daniel will take this snap in the gun. Looks right, waits for a receiver, goes end zone, jump up in the air is Robinson. Touchdown, Bears lead.
Just a jump ball. Nothing really much that Gary and Colin can do about it.
Bears with 21 unanswered points in the 3rd quarter alone.
Yeah, so we just got to pick him up a little bit sooner. Be smart, but rush this guy. Let's go ahead and finish. Let's go, O. Come on, O.
Cole will kick. And a fake. And a loose ball. Bears pick it up. Buster screen.
The ruling on the field will be changed. The runner was down by contact.
in motion, and there he is open. Renfro makes the reception, breaks a tackle and gets a first down before he's pushed out of bounds by Roquan Smith.
What about the freaking play?
12th play of the drive. Carr looking one way in his pass, and it's going to be caught at the 2-yard line by Moreau.
It's a power eye look from the 2. Under center, here comes Jacobs. Jumps, dives over the top. Touchdown! Touchdown, Raiders!
Could be a last-ditch effort for the Bears, and Chase Daniel will go down, and that will end the game. Maurice Hurst, and the 4th sack of the game for the Raiders, who have won 2 in a row. A stunning game.
That's the ball I've been looking for. Every time. Huh? Every time. Feeling good. Another win. Let's go. All they talk about is 13 sacks this. All offseason talked about us. We came in and we ran this today. Let's go, man. We're the nation, baby. That's how you dominate. That's how you make them talk about you, baby.
Hey, listen, I don't have a disco in here. I don't have a disco. Let's all start dancing. Say this, man. I'm 56 years old. That's the most fun I've ever had tonight, man. I am so proud of you. You have no idea. I mean, we've been through a roller coaster already, but what you proved today is one thing. You can beat anybody, anywhere, on any time zone.
Win on 3. 1, 2, 3. Win!
No matter the situation, winning away from home in the NFL is never easy. Up next, we give you an inside look at how tight end Darren Waller spends his time away from the field.
I had to learn the hard way to really appreciate what it's like to be a part of a team. So whatever they ask of me, I'm willing to do. I'll bring energy and execution. You know, I'm not a very vocal person, but you'll just be able to tell by, you know, how I'm running off the ball, just how hard I'm trying to play. And I'm going to play like every play is my last play, because there were times where I thought I wasn't going to play anymore. So I just try to bring that attitude every day. And, you know, if somebody can see me and feed off of that, that's what I hope for as a player.
The 5th-year tight end out of Georgia Tech has exploded onto the scene this season with his incredible play on the field. But when he's not catching passes from Derek Carr or paving the way for Josh Jacobs, what keeps Darren Waller busy as he navigates an NFL season?
Having an off day is extremely important in my opinion, because football, you know, it takes a lot from you, whether it's like the preparation or just the on-field or mentally, it takes from you, and you need to kind of fill yourself back up. So I kind of do a lot of different things, whether it's the recovery aspect, but also like whether it be reading or music for me, really. I could play like the piano when I was really little, and was in like the band in middle school playing like a bunch of different like percussion instruments. But then it was kind of like I had to choose between that and sports. So for a while there was a gap. So yeah, you kind of feel like I made this while it was dark out, and I don't know, you just kind of go off what you feel at the moment, and then I'll kind of go in and add like the hi-hats and instruments and stuff like this. I usually make it in like the 8-bar patterns, but this one I put in 16 because like I wanted to stretch out like the piano loop, but. And then once the second sound comes in, you can kind of like get a little body to it. I didn't start making beats until last October. My good friends from back home, they have been producing for over 10 years. You know, I feel like they got their 10,000 hours in almost. And I've just really been watching them and just right over their shoulder, like, what is that, what is this, what is that? And watching them, and then I was like, well, if I really like sat down and like wrote some stuff out or like really put some energy into it, I feel like I could, you know, really like make some music, not just for like other people, but just like that I would want to listen to. My great-grandfather, my dad's grandfather, is Fats Waller. I didn't really learn the full like history behind him until after I took like this jazz history class in college. My professor like came up to me and was like, you really should learn about your family history. Like, this is like incredible stuff. And then like, I guess in the college games, like if I ever made a play, the first thing the announcers would go to was the great-grandson of Fats Waller. And I was like, wow, like he must have been like really big. And so that's when I kind of knew like the music was in me. So I was like, that's when I really like thought about tapping into it. this is, always, whenever I play a song, I'm always like, oh yeah, this is my favorite, but I don't really know. I love them all, so, but yeah, I just let people decide.
Hope that you're reading between the lines.
I've been working since I got here. My main time that I usually work on is like the flights to road games. I'm always locked in the entire time on the flight. I never really imagined myself being in Europe to connect with people that are in London and people that enjoy our game that much. You know, it's cool to be here and it'll be a great experience for the players.
Count your blessings, I'm receiving mine. Love my city, but I bleed for my I need to grind.
There are those that look and those that see. My project Wall Street is out. It's been well received by people. I guess they didn't really think I took the music seriously. So, I mean, I felt like it was solid because, I mean, I respect music at the end of the day and wanted to, you know, make something that sounded good and that, you know, people could relate to, I guess. So yeah, put the project out because music's meant to be shared, and I just wanted to, you know, share to people what I do and what I like to do in my free time, and for them to respect that is pretty cool. And I know that, you know, you got some athletes that make music and people are like, stick to your day job, but I mean, it's like, you really got to do things that you enjoy at the end of the day, and it's your life. So, you know, that's really what I'm all about. "27 years, even though it's not really like still young in the grand scheme of things, but you know, I've seen like the highest of highs and the lowest of lows, and so it's kind of like reflecting on the past, but still kind of looking forward to the future. In dark times, I could just kind of ride it out and just go off that emotion and like make a song about it. So that's what music does for me. It's like I can just kind of step away from everything because it's, you know, it's a high pressure environment that we work in, and there's no denying that. So music just allows me to be like, okay, like let me just put myself out there, and you know, it doesn't matter like what people think of me, how I played, how I did this or that. It's just like I step into it, and it just gives me that feeling every time.
We all know how well Darren Waller has been producing on the field, but clearly he's producing off the field as well, and that's music to our ears. Up next, Jim and I break down the AFC West through the first 5 weeks.
My message is just try to be smart. You know, be smart. You represent yourself, you represent the Raiders, and you represent me. So be smart, have some fun, but be smart, and you know, find somebody you love and be with them.
Welcome back to the Silver and Black Show. The Raiders are sitting pretty heading into this Week 5 bye, second in the AFC West. And why don't we focus on the division right now? Because with the Chiefs' loss, they're just a half game back.
And they lost to a team that the Raiders just beat the week before. 4-1 they're standing at. Raiders at 3-2. Chargers are 2-3, and the lowly Broncos are 1-4. So, you know, they're in a good place right now after, you know, a 1-2 start. They're starting to turn things around. They're playing a little bit better on both sides of the football. And I think that gives them a lot of encouragement.
Well, let's start at the top and go through the division here. When you look at the Chiefs, obviously the first name that comes to mind is Patrick Mahomes. Right. But I feel like with the recent loss, do you think that the Colts provided the blueprint on how to beat this team? I think somewhat. You know, everybody's going to study on how they held Mahomes in check. But on the other hand, he's been banged up. He hurt his ankle earlier in the year, hurt it again in this game. So he probably wasn't the quarterback that he normally is. That being said, I think the Colts found ways to stymie that offense, which is very unusual because it's such a high-powered offense. And they're going to look at it and study it and see what they can come up with defensively to you know, put the kibosh on that offensive unit of Kansas City. As you had mentioned, the Chargers are 2-3, and they haven't made it through 5 weeks unscathed. Injuries on their defense, how much do you think that will impact them moving forward? Well, I think it's already shown. You know, 2-3, usually you'd think of them to be much more of a contender at this early stage of the football game, especially with Phillip Rivers. He's such a dynamic offensive player. But, you know, injuries take their toll over the course of a season, and the Chargers are off to a slow start. As you mentioned, Jim, the lowly Broncos, what happened to the Denver Broncos? Well, you know, obviously they're off to a slow start. They have a new quarterback starting for them in Joe Flacco, and I don't think he's playing as well as they thought he was. Defensively, you know, they've got very few sacks.
so they're not putting a lot of pressure on the opposing team's quarterback. So, you know, you put those things together, and they're not playing as well as they have in the past.
When you look at the Denver Broncos and the 4 losses that they've had, 2 of them have been by less than 3 points. So you know they want to get a win for team morale and, of course, for their fans.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right.
All right, well, the Raiders have a Week 6 bye, so they can rest a little. That's going to do it for this edition of the Silver and Black Show. On behalf of Jim Plunkett and all of us here at Silver and Black Productions, enjoy the bye week and go Raiders.